Hey everybody, Cash Soroy here in Dallas, Texas, where we continue to look far and wide for the greatest collections anywhere. I'm about to introduce you to a guy who's such a big Batman nut that he's got a full-fledged thing inside. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Let's find out together, shall we?
Ta-da!
But it's not only Batman. He loves old Hollywood. He loves sports, and he's got a jacket inside this house that was actually worn at one of the greatest gunfights in the history of the Old West. This is one of the greatest collections on Earth.
Hey Cash, come on in. Good to see you.
Thanks, man.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's head over to the study.
Can't wait to see it all.
This is a Andy Warhol Mal. This is a shirt Sylvester Stallone wore in Rocky.
Rocky, unreal.
I'm Steve Stodghill. I've been an attorney here in Dallas for 35 years, born and raised. My parents were big collectors when I was growing up. This is the wine collection.
Now, do you consider wine as an investment?
I consider it a beverage.
Okay.
I think I just got the gene when I was young. I started my first collection at age 3 and turned 61 last week and still going strong.
Is this the garage?
This is the garage. I probably got 8 or 9 different collections, from Batman to Old West to Old Hollywood to guitars to Longhorn memorabilia, art. This is by John Alexander, and this was during John's heavy drug phase when he got married in a monastery on some mountain, and this is his recollection.
He got married in a monastery during his heavy drug phase?
Yep. Apparently that's as the story goes.
My name is Joe Madalena. I'm the Executive Vice President at Heritage Auctions in Dallas, Texas. Steve's house today, and I'm looking at his collection, I'm just kind of blown away with the enormity of it. He has everything. Your mind goes crazy because you're like in a mini Smithsonian.
Started in 1963 when I was 3 years old. My dad bought me the comic book subscriptions to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League. I always liked Batman the best because he was the superhero that had no superpowers, but all the supervillains were terrified of him and all the superheroes were terrified of him. He was just a normal man who was able to achieve superhuman results.
Steve's Batman collection, he has everything, but you kind of have to step back and realize what it means to him. And I think that's the appealing part to a collector like that, the passion of how this man with a lot of wealth became Batman.
My favorite piece of Batman memorabilia is an original drawing of Batman by Bob Kane, the original illustrator. We've got the zombie apocalypse bat closet. It's a biometric lock that I press this, the door comes unlocked, and then we have the Bond theme. So when the zombies come, I say, bring it, zombies, let's do this thing. But you know, sometimes you need more than just firepower. Sometimes you need a superhero. Got a pretty cool Kevlar Batsuit too that I really like a lot, that DC Comics made for me, that could take a bullet or a knife and still keep ticking pretty well.
What are the reactions of people when you show them the Batsuit?
Holy smokes, oh my gosh. Wasn't expecting that. It's high drama,
This guy went out and had a Kevlar Batsuit made that he could actually wear. The apocalypse comes, you want to be in this house.
Facing the Batman Kevlar suit is Christian Bale's Armani suit from The Dark Knight.
Wow.
And a pretty lifelike statue of Christian Bale.
No, that looks like him.
Who is my favorite Batman actor? That's a tough one. This is George Clooney's Arctic Batsuit. I thought Clooney fit the role the best, but it was one of the worst movies that he was in. I'm probably gonna have to go with Adam West just because I loved watching those 66, 67 Batmans with Zap, Pal, Zoe. I'll probably have to go with Adam West.
An auctioneer's dream, Steve's collection. I get the phone call, we're selling. We get the Batmobile, we're off to his house, right? I mean, come on, it's priceless. Millions of dollars. I mean, it's hard to put a value on these things. How do you put a value on passion?
Do you know of anybody anywhere around here that's got a bigger Batman collection than you do?
Not in Texas. I mean, there are some Batman museums around the world that have a significantly larger collection than I do of Batman memorabilia, but I think I've pretty much got the best one in these here parts, as we say.
Speaking of these here parts, up next we're going to show you this here jacket. It is not a movie prop, and it was worn by one of the most famous gunslingers in the Old West. Find out who and more when the greatest collections on Earth continues. The greatest collections on Earth is here in Dallas at the house of attorney Steve Stodghill, who's already shown us his Batman suit that can take a live bullet. But his collection goes farther than that. A lot farther.
So now let's go over to the historical memorabilia section.
As you will.
This is a General George Patton's riding crop and his notebook from being at West Point. Letter from Napoleon Bonaparte.
Napoleon? That's handwritten?
Handwritten. Once you start down a path, it's hard to get off of it. It's a passion for folks that have the collecting gene.
Darwin, Mata Hari, Dashiell Hammett, Joseph Conrad, Houdini. I mean, he has everything you can possibly think of. It's interesting as I'm walking through Steve's collection to see the historical material, because you kind of stop in your tracks for a second and you realize that this guy's a serious collector. You're talking about things that are truly priceless.
This is a piece of the actual Hindenburg.
What?
That's the from the Hindenburg, actually, with the date of the explosion.
That is a piece of the actual Hindenburg.
Yep. This is a letter that...
I can't take this.
Well, that's cool. This is a letter signed by Helen Keller and a 140-million-year-old Triceratops horn.
Dude, This is insane. This is insane.
This is a shirt John Wayne wore in 3 movies. This is the suit that Jimmy Stewart wore in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. There was a town in Pennsylvania that had spent a ton of money to build 3 Old West museums. They went bankrupt and had to sell them off. This is the prized piece in my whole collection.
There it is.
Yeah, this is the jacket worn by Doc Holliday in the gunfight at the OK Corral.
He's so tiny.
And that's what everybody notices, is how small he was. Small but lethal. He only weighed 130 pounds. He was tubercular.
My arm could go into it. That is unbelievable.
Compare him to Jimmy Stewart or John Wayne.
As
right?
you will when you've got all 3 suits in the same room.
Right, of course.
Here's Doc Holliday's frock coat. You're like, it's impossible. How can it be?
It's the one piece that I get the most comments continuously about. America's known for its Old West and its cowboys and Indians, and this is the most famous gunfighter, one of the most famous gunfighters. And so it's really a piece of Americana. The story was authenticated by Big Nose Kate, who was Doc Holliday's Hungarian prostitute common law wife. And he gave it to her before he died, and she kept it and had a letter that authenticates it. So I think people like the history of how I know it really was Doc Holliday's jacket.
Big Nose Kate also ended up in a sanitarium, and when she passed away, one of the things she bequeathed to somebody that was a friend of hers was this jacket. So you have provenance tied from Doc Holliday to his most intimate friend, Kate Elder, specifically giving this at a time to somebody who was there in her world.
This is the New York Times article of the gunfight at the OK Corral with an original photo of young Doc Holliday and then autographed Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer's from the movie Tombstone.
Jeez, unbelievable.
My favorite Doc Holliday actor, well, you've got Victor Mature, you've got Kirk Douglas, and you've got Val Kilmer. I gotta go with Val. That scene with him and Johnny Ringo where he says, "I'll be your Huckleberry," is one of my favorite in film history. I gotta go with Val. This is a letter from General Custer and a piece of Geronimo's actual hair. This is an artifact.
A piece of Geronimo's actual hair?
Piece of Geronimo's actual hair. A little macabre, I know.
Steve's collection is the embodiment of what someone can do who has passion and a vision.
I got in a bidding war with some other folks. I was just gonna get that sucker no matter what it cost. And I just finally did a cash hemorrhage on it and got it. It's the best collectible piece in the entire house to this day. It's the thing that people go, that Doc Holliday, yeah, there's the real Doc Holliday.
You kind of like just suck all that in and you're like, this is Doc Holliday's. This is worth $1 million. I mean, there's no price you could put on this that wouldn't be worth it. It's that good.
The most famous gunfight in American history. It ought to either be in the Smithsonian or Steve Stodghill study.
Still ahead, we go from a guy famous for gunshots to the Sultan of SWAT. The ultimate collection isn't complete without something very personal from Babe Ruth. Next on the greatest collections on Earth. We're in Dallas, Texas with a collector who's already wowed us with a one-of-a-kind Batman collection and the jacket worn by Doc Holliday at the gunfight in the OK Corral. But you think he's done? No way.
This case is the start of the old Hollywood collection. Here's a monkey head from The Wizard of Oz. This is a pool cue autographed by Jackie Gleason and Paul Newman from The Hustler. This is a little Howard Hughes display. You've got a telegram from Howard Hughes and a chronograph he gave to a photographer in LA that had taken his picture with a married woman that Howard Hughes should not have been with. And so he bribed this paparazzi to not publish his photo with this woman in a scandal rag.
Times have changed.
Yeah. I'm a huge movie fan. And so I just started modestly collecting old Hollywood memorabilia. This is a Tribble from The Trouble with Tribbles in Star Trek, Farrah Fawcett's negligee, John Wayne Shriner hat from that picture. How cool is that?
As we're touring the house, it's just literally you're looking around, Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne. It's like literally for me, I'm a kid in a candy store. I'm walking around and it's just like all these memories come flooding back. It's unbelievable the things in this collection.
This is a shirt Elvis wore.
Have you ever tried any of this stuff on?
No, I've never tried any of this stuff on. Well, with the exception of the Kevlar Batsuit. I put that on fairly frequently. This is Clint Eastwood's hat from that picture in Pale Rider.
See, you're telling me you never put on Clint Eastwood's hat?
I never put on Clint Eastwood's hat.
I mean, that's not like the Doc Holliday jacket that you're gonna bust through like fat guy in a little coat. I mean, that you could try on.
You're right. I should take a walk on the wild side sometime and give it a shot.
So you said Cary Grant's your favorite actor. What's your favorite Cary Grant piece?
I've been on some stuff for Cary Grant over the years, but I haven't.
You are kidding me.
I haven't got, well, it wasn't.
You don't have any Cary Grant?
I have no Cary Grant. I'm a failure. I'm a collecting failure.
You're a real failure.
I'm a collecting failure. And then I started going for some big guns. Like I've got a jacket worn by Orson Welles and Citizen Kane. This is Basil Rathbone's Sherlock Holmes tweed jacket from Hound of the Baskervilles.
That's Sherlock Holmes.
That's Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, that's his jacket.
Unbelievable.
This is so cool. I actually own both of these. You know, this is Orson Welles, Citizen Kane, and Basil Rathbone's houndstooth jacket from the Hound of the Baskerville. These are awesome.
This is a self-portrait of Alfred Hitchcock and an invitation to a Hitchcock cocktail party.
Is that his autograph underneath it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I've got a ton of stuff, and that is really a fun collectible. This is an autographed world premiere program from Gone with the Wind. It's world premiere in Atlanta in 1939, and it's autographed by the entire cast plus the producer of the film, David O. Selznick.
Clark Gable signed that?
Clark Gable signed it, yeah. Clark Gable signed it. Yeah. Clark Gable, right down there. People really don't try to buy things out of my collection. I think they're too busy trying to get their hands around all the sensory overload they see when I take them on the tour. Up here, we've got the guitar collection, two Stodge from Willie.
If you could go back in time and go to any concert, any band during any time ever, who would you see?
I'd go see the Rat Pack at the Sands in 1962 or 3.
Oh, my man.
I guess you could say I never really have grown up now. I've just been able to have different types of toys as I've gotten older. This is a bat that's autographed by Babe Ruth.
How many people get to actually hold Babe Ruth's bat? I mean, this is really cool, heavy. He was known for having these in really heavy bats. He was a big guy and that's how he hit a lot of home runs, but you know, signed by Babe Ruth. I mean, you just don't expect to find this in your neighbor's house, right? It's just, this is really cool. He has it in a cabinet. So when you get into something like a Babe Ruth bat, you're talking about like the 1% of sports collectibles. I mean, this is probably the apex of what you could possibly collect. Because every collector wants something that belonged to Babe Ruth. So when something like this goes up for auction, the bidding is just ferocious. It'll sell for millions of dollars because you got so many people who want it and there are so few of them. This is truly the best of its kind.
It's fun to win an auction, but you're always trying to figure out how you're gonna get the next big piece and make your collection just that much better.
When you meet these guys like Steve, it's about sharing these collectibles, and they get so much joy in what I'm doing right now, and that's what it's all about. Is I have Babe Ruth's bat in my hand.
It's really cool living in a museum.